All right, y'all already know what time it is, man. Mr. Nightmare is back. 3 horrifying true ski trip horror stories. Now, I've already heard some ski trip horror stories, but those have to do with people getting like hurt and, almost dying, like trying to ski down the mountains and stuff. This probably ain't got nothing to do with the actual skiing. It's probably people being weird and doing stuff. Y'all know how Mr. Nightmare's video go. So we about to go ahead and get right into this, man. Without further ado, let's get it. And I tell y'all all the time, not to cheat me, bruh. Turn off all your lights. My lights are off. Only got this ring light on. Turn your lights off, baby. Get in the mood. Let's get it. Story 1 by Savannah.
My first big skiing trip ever was with my friends Angel, Amy, and Jessica, and we all flew to Colorado.
Okay.
We all rented an Airbnb in the town of Snowmass, right by Aspen Mountain.
Snowmass.
I had only been snowboarding one other time in my life at this point.
That whisper just freaked me out.
Consisted of riding down the bunny hill over and over.
Hell yeah, bunny hill.
First thing we did from the airport was Uber straight to the Airbnb.
Ain't going to the big shit.
Spacious 4-bedroom house. It had a huge deck with a hot tub on it overlooking the Colorado countryside.
Okay.
Since it was nighttime already by the time we got there, we went out to some local bar on the first night, which was a Thursday.
A little sip
Next
action.
day, we went straight to the mountain via Uber. We got our rental equipment at the mountain to make things easier.
Right.
It actually wasn't super crowded on the first day.
Oh.
Probably because it was a work day.
Was it a Friday? Yeah.
The next day, it got a lot more crowded.
Yeah,
For some
weekend.
reason, I just couldn't really get the hang of it. I couldn't make it down a slope without falling at least a few times.
Damn, really?
At a certain point, I was so fed up that I just sat on the side of a slope to catch my breath and take a break.
Just because you were falling?
While a bunch of people zoomed past me, even little kids that made it look easy.
Oh, wow.
This man who seemed like he didn't really know what he was doing either.
Okay.
He came up to me and asked if I'm okay, and he started trying to make conversation with me.
Nice guy.
It was the weirdest spot to make conversation, so after a few seconds of answering his questions, I got up and said nice talking to you, and resumed trying to snowboard
Right,
down the mountain.
that's true.
This mountain was a blue run.
Mid-slide?
A longer slope to get down, and slightly more difficult than a green.
Oh.
I stopped again a little further down the mountain to take another break. I really wasn't having fun. To my dismay, I saw that guy from before approaching me again.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
inching closer to me with the same struggle I had been dealing with.
Leave me alone.
He stopped right next to me.
I don't want
He
to talk.
stepped from his snowboard, then sat a few feet from me. He started talking to me about how he's not used to so many pretty girls like me being here. This was super weird because I had on a ski mask and helmet. My face was practically covered.
Right?
He asked who I was here with. I lied and said my boyfriend. He laughed and said he saw me come here with all girls.
Oh.
I looked at
So why you asking it?
really loud and then got back on my snowboard and continued down the mountain. It's weird, but I snowboarded better than I ever had in that moment. Perhaps because I had the proper motivation to just get down the mountain.
Trying to get away from this damn
When I
creek.
got to the bottom, I immediately went to the lodge and sat at one of the tables, calling each of my friends. Amy was the first one to pick up. I explained what just happened and asked her to just come sit with me.
Right?
A few minutes later, I saw her walking over to me. I had already texted our group chat saying we should leave.
How you come to a
It's
ski
already
lodge
around
being a
3
weirdo,
o'clock
bro?
Anyway, we'd been there a few hours.
Come on, man.
When Angel and Jessica finished whatever run they were on, they met us back at the lodge. We returned our rental gear and then Ubered back to the Airbnb. We all showered and changed and then headed out to the village for dinner. We then went out to a few of the local bars afterward.
To the bars
We
again.
drunk.
Oh,
Came back to the
no.
Airbnb. We all 4 went into the hot tub on the deck and
I
drank.
know
more
where this
alcohol.
is going.
After a while of that, we all eventually went to our rooms to go to sleep. I'm basically an insomniac, and I stayed up on my phone for over an hour scrolling on TikTok.
It'd be like
Even
that,
as I
man. Me
was Still
too.
buzzed.
I'm not actually an insomniac, but I be up late as hell watching
Very,
videos.
Very good thing that may have saved us.
I be having to stop myself.
I heard footsteps out in the common area,
Oh.
either the living room or the kitchen. The Airbnb had wood floors throughout.
Oh.
Initially, I thought it was one of the girls going to the bathroom or getting water, but then I heard the doorknob to my door twisting. I sat up and was about to say one of their names, but I stopped myself because why would one of them be trying to come into my room?
Right?
I instantly went to the group chat to text everyone and ask who that is.
Huh.
Nobody answered. They must have been asleep.
Right?
I tiptoed to the door.
They don't even
My
know they
nose
in
against
danger.
it. I heard footsteps moving around. When it went quiet, I ever so quietly unlocked the door and twisted the doorknob.
Okay.
I pushed the door open as gently as I could, and I peeked into the living room. I looked from corner to corner until I saw a tall black silhouette.
Oh my
One door to the
God.
It was a man for sure.
Get out of here.
Into one of our rooms. I wanted to scream out to my friends to warn them.
No, don't do that.
Silent because I was too scared. I closed my door quietly and locked it.
He gonna rush you if you
Prayed to
make
God
noise.
Everyone had their doors locked.
4
girls in one Airbnb though, of course we did. I called 911 quietly and whispered the entire time into the phone.
Yes.
That's when I heard the light knocks on my bedroom door.
Oh!
To the door and watched as the doorknob again started to turn.
This friend, this friend.
Couldn't open it.
Oh, it's the dude.
I kept saying, please hurry, into the phone. All the woman on the line kept saying back is, they're almost here, and to remain quiet. It was entirely possible that the man on the other side of the door heard me whispering, because he started pushing into the door. I heard shoves and bangs on the door.
Yeah, he trying to get in.
I screamed, get out of here, followed with, I'm on the phone with 911 right now. The bangs stopped, and a voice on the other side said, okay, sweetheart. And then I heard his footsteps walking away.
Maybe it worked, but I've never really been a fan of that. If I'm calling the cops on a motherfucker, I'm not gonna tell them, hey, I'm calling the cops. So give them a chance to run. No, stay your ass right here so they can come here and get you. But yeah, I guess she did want him to get away. He trying to bang the door open. He a grown man. He probably was gonna get that door open eventually. So I guess it makes sense in this situation.
The 911 operator instructed me to stay in the room until police should arrive.
Right, I ain't going nowhere.
I peeked outside the window, but it was simply too dark to see anything beyond a few
That's why I gotta
feet
keep
in
that
front of the
blinking on you,
window.
but you gotta keep it.
My friends were awake now from my screams. I told them all to stay in their rooms. Police finally got there about 5 to 10 minutes later, and they came right into the Airbnb since the door was unlocked. Once it was confirmed the intruder was gone, we ensured every entry point was locked and secured. And
Okay.
Sleeping after that was difficult. Of course,
Hell yeah.
it came up that it was that creepy man from the mountain who was following me, and I do believe that's a possibility.
More than likely who it
Could
was.
have been a match, honestly. After working out a partial refund with the Airbnb host, we spent Sunday traveling the area instead of snowboarding again. We
Okay.
stayed at a small motel Sunday night.
Yeah.
We flew home Sunday morning.
Oh my God, bro. You damned weirdos. What is up with y'all? I'm so tired of y'all being out here trying to do things to people against their will. Do you not get no butt? And even if you don't get no butt, is it that big a deal? You gotta try to take it? We know what you was. What else was he on? Over there trying to stop and talk to the women. Go somewhere, man. They don't want you. Man, I'm glad she was able to she was able to get up in that room. Glad they all had the doors locked. Because that dude definitely has some nefarious intent. It wouldn't have been good had he got on one of their bedroom doors. Whew. All right. Story 2 by Anonymous. Usually Anonymous is the third story, so this one must be crazy. Let's go.
Whenever I was scared as a kid, my dad had always told me in life that you should not be scared of ghosts. Fear the living because they can actually hurt you.
Makes sense.
In my late teenage years, I came into some money after my father committed suicide.
Even though I do believe in ghosts.
Received an inheritance from him. At the time of my
That's
dad's
sad.
passing, he and my mom owned a cabin up in Oregon by Mount Bachelor. The cabin had been put up for sale since my mom could no longer afford the payments, and renting it out was not covering the payments either. The cabin was set to go on the market for sale in less than a month, and was in
Wow.
the process of finalizing all the paperwork with the realtor and lawyer. So for that month's time, the cabin was not going to be rented out any longer and was just going to be vacant. I
Okay.
saw this as a chance to get away for a while and clear my head in light of all the things going
Quick little vacation for free.
I quit work, packed up my snowboarding gear,
Quit
my
work.
dog Midnight, and headed up in my dad's car to the cabin. My first 2 days at the cabin were normal, and nothing out of the ordinary happened.
I just can't really get a
I
month
spent my
off.
days
More
playing
up
Midnight
still.
in the snow and snowboarding, and the evenings playing PlayStation or listening to music, drinking and smoking out on the balcony.
Dairu approves. Not
Already
the
stocked
smoking,
up on
but
food,
PlayStation.
cigarettes, and liquor, so I was pretty much a shut-in.
Iffy on the liquor.
Occasional out to hit the slopes.
I don't drink, but drink if you want to.
With
Don't
my
smoke
dog as
though.
company and DVDs, PlayStations as entertainment, I was quite content and started to feel relaxed after all the drama that had preceded my outing.
Okay.
The cabin itself was 2 stories. The bottom story had a living room and a side guest bedroom, along with a small
Got a
kitchen.
nice cabin.
Upstairs had another 2 rooms, along with a walkout balcony attached to the master bedroom.
All
Most
right.
of my time was spent either in the living room, kitchen, or master bedroom. I never ventured into the other rooms and always kept the doors leading into them shut. The 3rd day came around, and I was going through my usual routine of playing with my dog, playing games, and watching DVDs. That day it was a pretty heavy snowfall, so instead of hitting the slopes, I stayed in.
I keep yawning, bro.
Things started getting a bit weird. In our area, there were only 2 other cabins adjacent to ours,
Okay.
a block away from each other. All other cabins aside from these two were around a mile away from ours.
Gotcha.
Surrounding us was mostly forest and
They're
very
pretty much
tall pine
isolated.
trees. Both these cabins were empty, and from the past couple of days, I knew that no one was currently staying there. Around midday, while outside with my dog, I noticed what looked like footprints in the snow around the area surrounding our cabin.
Oh.
It was still snowing, so the footprints looked semi-fresh, like someone had just been there in the last 20 to 30 minutes before me.
Right.
I thought that maybe someone was staying in the cabin near me that I may not have noticed.
Nah.
Maybe they were shut-ins like me. All right, whatever. The footprints led away from my cabin, and they disappeared in the snow towards the denser part of the trees. I disregarded the footprints and went back inside. Nighttime came around, and I decided to head to bed.
Okay.
My dog Midnight was laying on the bed with me when I noticed his ears perk up to a listening position.
Yep.
This was followed by him quickly jumping off the bed and running downstairs to the living room. I lay in the bed and stayed silent. I was honestly freaked out.
Right.
I could hear him moving around downstairs back and forth.
Is Midnight big or little? I need to know.
He ran back upstairs to me and started to do his doggy dance for the sign that he had to pee or that he wanted to go outside.
Doggy dance? What's that?
Well, fine. I can't say no to him, so we both went downstairs to the outside driveway for him to do his thing.
Like what?
He didn't want to pee. As soon as we were outside, he started to pull his leash, trying to drag me to where he wanted to go.
Oh.
He kept looking into the dense part of the trees where the prints had been earlier.
Oh, he's trying to bring you
He
to
also
him.
kept sniffing the side of the house and looking up towards the roof. After he figured out that I was not going to go where he wanted,
The
he
hell?
sat himself down and just stared into the darkness. A bit unusual for him, but all right. Maybe there's some forest animals out there that he wants to chase down.
Come on, girl. Come
I
on,
didn't
girl.
want to chase anything. So I pulled him back inside, and we both headed back upstairs.
Your dog was trying to
Around half
warn
an
you,
hour
damn it.
later, I was lying in my bed when I heard what sounded like hooves walking on my roof. It was only a series of around 6 steps, and I rationalized that it could be a pine cone falling from a tree onto the roof, or
This motherfucker done climbed on top of the roof and he trying to get in through the chimney. You think he's Santa Claus?
6 steps, and I rationalized that it could be a pine cone falling from a tree onto the roof, or maybe a kind-hearted forest animal running around. But here's the thing.
Get him out of
Steps
here.
seemed to be spaced apart like a man-length stride, so it was really freaking me out. Midnight also heard the noise and was quick to run to the balcony screen door, expecting for me to let him out.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'm a tough guy, and at the time, I considered myself to be fairly well built and
Okay.
strong enough to handle myself.
See, I thought it was a
So I
girl
grabbed
this
my
whole
point
time.
and shoot
You got to get that
along with
detail at the
some
beginning.
cigarettes and flashlight, and went out onto the balcony. As soon as I went outside, I lit up my cigarette and started canvassing the roof with my light.
Okay.
Nothing there, and the snow on top was undisturbed. Weird. Was it all in my head?
Right?
What about Midnight hearing the noise? Maybe he was feeding off my paranoia. I started to calm down and relax again. My eyes started to adjust to the darkness, and I kept smoking and just staring at the stars and trees next to our cabin. That's when I saw it. In a tree that was a little taller than our cabin and around 20 feet from the balcony. I
Okay.
saw what looked like a man crouched in a squatting position in between 2 branches.
No.
Really tall, like 8 or 9 feet, and it was really fucking skinny.
The hell?
It was squatted on one branch, and its freakishly long, white arms were extended above its head, holding onto the branch above it.
This motherfucker found a tree climbing Slenderman. Oh no, dog. It's over for you. And you better go find them pages. Shit, go lay.
While
That's
its
all you
mouth
got.
was wide open with no expression.
Bro, no way.
What the fuck is that? I wasn't sure if I was really seeing this thing.
Right.
Just staring.
That's not even who are you. That's what is that?
I noticed Midnight stand
What are
up
you?
and start pacing behind me and lightly barking at the same time. The thing still did not move. I put my cigarette out and was debating on shining the light in the thing's direction.
Okay.
But something in my head kept screaming not to. So I
Oh.
walked backwards to the inside of the room and pulled Midnight with me. Once inside, I locked the door and shined the light in the thing's direction.
It was gone.
Nothing there.
I knew it. I knew it was gonna be
Shut the
gone.
curtains to the screen door and retreated back to bed. But later on in the night, I heard some light tapping at the screen door.
Oh
I
hell
was tapping the glass with my
no.
fingers. It
No.
was consistent and did not stop for nearly an hour.
An
I
hour.
seemed to stare at the door, but he wouldn't go near it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
The weirdest part was that I had a feeling like someone was inviting me to open that door.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, I kept hearing my dad's voice in my head, telling me to stay in bed and don't do it.
Wow.
I listened to my dad's voice.
Listen.
And stayed where I was. I passed out eventually and woke up in the morning.
I would not have been able to
Didn't take
fall
me long to
asleep.
pack everything and get the hell out of there.
Fuck no. Hell no, bruh. You was finna get whisked away off into Santa's workshop. Let me stop playing. I don't know what the hell was going on, bro. What the? It tapped at the door for an hour. If you would have came to that door, bruh, it'd have been over for you. The dog wouldn't even go near the door. That's how you know it's crazy. Shout out to the dog though for not being a barker. God damn it, man. Some dogs is yappers and they wouldn't have shut the hell up in that situation. I don't know how he fell asleep. That's crazy. All right, story 3 by Anthony M. That's the last story of the video. Let's get it. Out of this message.
My family owns a property in Vermont that we use in the wintertime for skiing and snowboarding. It's at the top of a hill surrounded by woods. The nearest neighbors are up the road, but separated enough where you can't see their houses from our property. There's a big shed outside that we keep a lot of our snowboarding gear, along with general lawn care stuff like shovels, rakes, and everything like that.
Need that stuff.
We keep the shed locked whenever we aren't up there. Once we unlock it though, we keep it unlocked for the entirety of our visits, as we don't really worry too much about people coming and stealing anything while we're there. The actual house is pretty nicely sized.
Like what they gonna take?
It's technically 3 floors, with the 3rd floor being a loft master bedroom.
Oh!
For my parents.
Right.
My siblings and I aren't allowed to use it. This one weekend, I was heading up there with this girl, Melissa, who I was going to be teaching how to snowboard.
Okay.
She'd never been before. We had a beginner board up there that she used, along with all the proper equipment. On our property, since it's on a steep hill, we actually made our own little custom slope that we'd sometimes snowboard or sled down for fun.
Okay.
Before taking her to the actual mountain, I suggested I teach her the basics on the hill. We put on all of our gear.
Makes sense.
Up at the top of the hill, I slowly started descending, showing her the basic movements.
Okay.
When she made her first attempts, she right away fell as expected, but she was persistent and kept trying and getting back up.
Okay, shout out to her.
When we made it to the bottom of the hill, she'd get a little better, and then we'd walk back up and do it again. At some point, we both heard a male voice call out from the woods, presumably at us. It said, "Hello." We start looking around, confused as hell. All we saw were a bunch of trees and a white sheet of snow covering the floor of the woods.
And they both heard it.
You'd think it would be easier to spot someone or something when it's just a sheet of white surrounding you.
Right?
But nope, we didn't see anyone in the woods. I yelled out, "Is someone there?" Nothing now.
Oh my
dead
gosh,
silence
bro.
in a secluded place in the winter.
Come on.
Melissa and I were slightly disturbed, so we walked back up to the house and went inside. I didn't think it could be the neighbors because I didn't see the driveway to the one we passed shoveled, and the neighbors further up the hill would have no reason to come down like that. I told her it must have been some random person going for a hike in the woods. That was the least scary possibility.
No.
Next thing we did was go out to my favorite nearby diner. Then we went shopping for basic groceries to get us through the next few days.
Okay.
Since it was a bit late now, we were going to spend the rest of the night just chilling at the house. We ate dinner and then chilled by the fire pit out back.
Okay.
At some point, we both heard the distinct sound of shoes stepping in snow not far away.
Oh!
We turned off the music for a second, but with the sound of the crackling fire, it still wasn't dead silence.
Right?
At this point, whatever we heard stopped. I asked for her phone so I could use both my and her phone's flashlights to point into the woods.
He trying to sneak up in the crib.
I called out, "Is someone there?" which scared Melissa. She asked to go inside, so we did. We didn't go back outside that night. The next morning, I woke up to Melissa getting out of bed.
Oh?
I was still tired, so I went back to sleep. And when I woke up again, she was still not in the bed anymore. I looked at the time, and it was already like 9 a.m.
Okay.
So I got up
But
and opened
okay,
the curtains to
it's
the
not that
window.
bad.
I looked out at the shed outside. The door was open, and I saw the breath of someone being blown from behind the door to the shed. I wondered what Melissa was doing out there. I opened the window and yelled Melissa's name.
That ain't Melissa.
When she called back, her voice came from inside the house.
I knew
In
it.
the living room.
Motherfucker hiding in the shed.
Goosebumps. I kept watching the escaping breath of whoever was in our shed blow out the door.
You got caught by the
I yelled
breath.
outside, "Yo, who's in my shed?" And a few seconds later, I shut the window and ran out to the living room to find Melissa watching TV. Or rather now, she was more so just standing in front of the couch, concerned.
Right?
I I looked out the back door and saw the back of somebody dressed in black running into the woods.
Oh my
I looked
gosh.
for my boots, but by the time I put them on, it was too late to chase him.
You gotta move it. You gonna
I
chase?
checked the shed to see
This
if
dude
anything was
bold.
stolen, but it seemed everything was there. I relocked the shed just to be safe. I saw the footprints of that person lead from the woods to the shed, then back to the woods again.
Huh.
I wasn't about to follow the footprints though.
Hell no.
After nerves calmed a bit,
Following nothing.
breakfast, then headed for the mountain, and we had a whole day of snowboarding. Melissa picked it up surprisingly well, and we plan to have one more day at it tomorrow.
Okay, so they had a good day.
After we got back to the house, we cooked a steak dinner, then watched a movie. We didn't want to sit out in the dark again after last night and earlier that day.
Right, right.
In the middle of that night, I woke up to Melissa shaking me.
Oh,
She explained why.
this dude came
She
back.
told me to listen. We sat in silence for about 30 seconds before we heard, "Help me," in a very long, drawn-out voice from outside. Melissa was in hysterics.
Don't believe it. Don't believe
I
it.
heard the voice again. I went over to the window. She begged me not to open the curtain. I said I was just going to take a peek. I gently lifted one corner of the curtain to peek outside.
No.
I don't know what I was expecting to see, except for total blackness. I cracked the window open, and a gust of cold air hit me in the face.
Windows
I
open.
listened, intending on getting a better idea of where this voice was
Oh,
coming
he
from.
said he cracked it. What am I
I
talking about? I'm
suddenly
tripping.
heard footsteps in the snow, getting much louder very quickly. They were coming toward the window.
He finna try to jump
Quickly
in.
pulled it down and relocked it. Whoever it was already saw me, though. The knock on the window confirmed it.
Bro,
I looked over at Melissa, who was hiding under the blanket, making
who is this bold individual that just tried to make an attempt to sprint at the window and dive in? Who is this dude, bro? Keep the blicky on you, bro. He gonna regret that he tried that shit.
window confirmed it. I looked over at Melissa, who was hiding under the blanket, making faint crying noises.
It's some
I
bullshit.
told her to just stay quiet. Our best response was to not respond or acknowledge them.
Right.
There was never another tap at the window, nor were there any more calls from outside. It was a long couple hours after that of not sleeping. Eventually, though, we got so tired that we did end up just falling asleep.
What does he even
The
want?
next morning, I checked around the house, and there were footprints literally surrounding the house.
Yeah.
Someone or multiple people had been circling the house, apparently going from window to window.
Multiple
We
people.
decided we'd leave early.
They was trying to
Clearly,
rob.
Someone was stalking us from the moment we got there. I locked everything back away in the shed. Then we packed the car, and back to Rhode Island we went. For those curious, nothing was broken into or stolen the next time any of us went back up there.
Okay.
Truthfully, I don't even really have a guess as to what that person out there wanted, but it was most definitely the same person stalking the house from the moment we got there.
That's weird.
Multiple people. And when you're up in an isolated place like that, realizing you're not alone is the scariest thing imaginable.
Uh-huh. Hell no, dog. Bro, that shit is really crazy. And that bold ass individual was really trying to just jump up in the window, bro. Like, come on, bro. What you doing? You want to get in that bad? You don't even know what they got. That's crazy. Hey, man. Keep the blicky on you, dog. Get that. Keep that. Use that. Use that. All right, dog. I'm over here studying on my words, goddammit. This is the end of this video, yeah. 3 horrifying true ski trip horror stories by Mr. Nightmare, man. Mr. Nightmare always come with the good horror stories. Make sure y'all stay tuned. I got some more horror stories coming on different days, but you know, they're coming. And these ones have animations. IMR Scary Tales. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. Show I love the video by like, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, we up out of this thing. This is your boy Dairu, we signing out. Hey.